And that we are going to be talking today about the unit mi comunidad. So, starting with los pronombres sujetos singulares. We've talked about this in the past, singular subject pronouns. And if you recall, we have this left side of the house, the left side, the singular side, and then I always told you about the plural side that's coming soon. We haven't talked about yet. So let's review that singular side. We have 5 singular subject pronouns. They are yo, which is I, tú, which is you informal. So if you are talking to a friend or if you're talking to somebody that you call by their first name, you're going to use tú with them. If you're talking to an adult, you're going to use usted, or someone that you might refer to by their last name, like Mrs. Sullivan or Senora Sullivan or a principal or things such as that. Él is he, and ella is she. So those are our singular, which means we're talking about one person at a time, our singular subject pronouns. So what happens if I want to talk about myself and another person? For example, Adam and I are going to the mall tonight. Who's going to the mall? What if I want to use one word to replace Adam and I? That's what we're going to talk about today, this plural side of subject pronouns. So before we begin, talk about just the forms of you in Spanish, okay? There are, how many ways to say you in Spanish? Well, we already know about the 2 singulars, tú and usted, but there's actually 2 plural ways of saying you as well. There's vosotros or vosotras, and then there is ustedes. We're going to talk about those again in just a second. So, this chart it shows you the singular and the plural subject pronouns. So we already discussed the singulars. We said once again, yo is I, tú is you, informally, usted is you, formal, él and ella is he, and then ella is she. Okay, so we use yo to talk about ourselves. That's first person, and we're talking about ourselves. But like I said, if you want to talk about yourself and another person, you are going to say we. Nosotros would be if there is a boy or multiple boys involved. Nosotras would be if it was you were describing yourself and you're a girl, and there's other girls involved, okay? And we did say that this side is the plural side. Vosotros is you all. However, it's only for the most part used in Spain, and it's informal. So that would be like if you were talking to a group of students, you would typically refer to them as vosotros or vosotras if they were just girls. Now, what happens if you're in Mexico or places like Puerto Rico and they don't use vosotros? Well, the other way to say you all then is ustedes. So this one, ustedes, is used in Spain, but when you're using it in Spain, it is only formal, okay? But if you're using it anywhere else, it is both informal and formal. It's both, okay? And that is what this is saying. And these 4 categories, the tú, the usted, the ustedes, and the vosotros, are all when you are talking directly to somebody, asking them, hey, how are you? Okay. The other thing, a cool way to remember this is I always say that it's the word, if the subject pronoun has a you in it, or a skinny you, which is the V, the skinny you, it means you. The only difference is if it's on this right side, it means you all. Okay? Okay, and then we have, so like I said, these are the middle section, tú, usted, vosotros, and ustedes, are if you are talking directly to that person and you're saying things like, how are you? Or where are you from? Finally, we have another talking about category, which is called third person. And this would be if you're talking about 2 boys at the same time or a boy or a girl, but you're talking about them. So, for example, if it says Jose y Carlos, and you're saying Jose and Carlos are going to the mall tonight. Who's going to the mall? You would replace that with they. Ellos are they, and it includes boys, or it can be boys and girls. Ellas, however, also means they, but it's only referring to a group of girls. Okay, so this is our chart. Please go ahead and fill this in your notes. And on the bottom, you can also fill in, we said usted and ustedes, they're formal. That means that they are used to address people you don't know very well or someone with a title. In most countries, though, ustedes is formal and informal because it's the only way to say you all in most countries. Except in Spain, it will be formal. Okay, so make sure you fill this in. And in Spain, it is formal. Vosotros or vosotras is you all, and it is informal and only used in Spain. Tú and vosotros are both informal, and they are used to address people you know well, like friends, peers, a child, or pets, or family. And lastly, remember that we have an only girls club, which is nosotras, vosotras, and ellas. It means only, when you are talking about nosotras, vosotras, or ellas, it is only girls. However, girls are allowed in the boys club, right? So if it's nosotros, vosotros, or ellos, that does not mean it's only boys. It means it could be just boys or boys and girls mixed. Okay, so these are our singular and plural subject pronouns. Let's go through, well, we'll go through some examples in my next video. This is just to help you fill in these notes, okay? So let's go through some examples of how these work, okay? In the following scenarios, we are talking about these people. So if you look back on your chart and you remember which categories I said we talk about, that would be the first person and the third person. So that means we are only allowed to use this top part of the house and this bottom part of the house, okay? So if you're using your notes right now, these are the ones that we talk about the people, okay? So we are talking about Sylvia. My recommendation is always use it in a sentence. So if I were to say, Sylvia kicks the ball, you need to think to yourself, okay? And I'm going to draw a little chart over here of the subject pronouns so that I don't have to keep going back and forth. That's a bad chart. Let me try again. Okay, so we have yo, tú, usted, él, and ella. And then our plural forms, our plural forms are nosotros, vosotros, ustedes, ellos, and ellas. So we already said we cannot use tú or usted, vosotros, or ustedes right now because those would be if I was talking to Sylvia, saying, hi, Sylvia, how are you? So we're not. We're talking about her. So what we need to figure out right now is if we're talking about Sylvia, is she one person, the singular side, or is she multiple people, the plural side? Obviously, Sylvia is just one. So our options now have become, we can eliminate the whole right side. It is either going to be yo, él, or ella. So Sylvia rides her bike. Do I ride my bike? Well, I'm not Sylvia, so I can't use yo. Okay. He rides his bike. Well, Sylvia's a girl, so it can't be he. What about she rides her bike? Right. That makes more sense. So replacing Sylvia with one subject pronoun would be ella. Okay. The next one is Julio y tú. I am going to eliminate that one and not do that one right now. Sorry. I'm actually going to skip to number 3. Okay. Number 3 is Rafael y yo. So Rafael and I. So I want to use one subject pronoun to talk about Rafael and I. Here's a big hint. Anytime you see yo and another person, you're going to find yo on your chart and you're just going to go to the right. Okay, do be careful because if it's two girls, remember it could end in an AS at the end. But since Rafael is a boy, I know that I'm going to use we, which in Spanish is nosotros. Okay, the next one is Eva y Manuela. Those are two girls. So if I want to talk about two girls, I'm no longer on the singular side, so I can't use this left side, no way. Okay, instead I'm going to use the plural side. So, two girls. Does it have the word yo in it at all? No, it's Eva and Manuela. So it cannot be nosotros. Ellos would be if there was a guy involved, but we already said Eva y Manuela are two girls. So thus, if I was going to say Eva and Manuela ride their bikes, who's riding their bikes? They are, and we want they for just girls. So that would become ellas. Okay? El maestro means teacher. So if I'm talking not to a teacher, but about a teacher, we know it's a male teacher because it ends in an O. If I'm talking about a male teacher, such as Mr. Garten teaches social studies. Who teaches social studies? Which one of these singular, because it's only one person, which one of these singular words would make sense to say blank teaches social studies? Well, I'm not Mr. Garten. She? No, it's not a girl. He. Yeah, he teaches social studies. He's a good teacher. So E-L, but make sure you put that accent mark over the E. Lastly, we have mis amigos. Mis amigos means my friends. The big trick here is that we know it's plural, but a lot of times people want to put we. But does it have that E-yo there? The answer would be no. So I want you to think, if it's mis amigos, my friends went to the movie without me. They didn't invite me. Who didn't invite me? They. And since it's amigos, we know that there are some boys involved. So thus, they in Spanish is ellos. Okay? So this is how we talk about people. If we want to talk to them, then we're going to either use tú, usted, vosotros, or ustedes, or vosotras if it's girls. Okay, so if we're talking to Paco, I'm saying, hi Paco, how are you? Well, if it's Paco, it's his first name, so it'd be informal. So it's one person and it's informal. So what is the one person informal way of saying you? You can look up here in the chart. Hopefully you guessed tú. Okay. What about if you were talking to two friends, but the big trick here is it says that we are in Mexico. If you're talking to two people in Mexico, well, the only way to say you all in Mexico is this key one right here, ustedes, because we said vosotros is in Spain only. So the next one says unos niños, which are some children. Would that be formal or informal? It would be informal because it's children. And it says we're in Spain now. So since we're in Spain and it's informal, we're going to look back at our chart and you'll find that that is vosotros. I'm going to stop there. I hope that you guys have a little bit of an idea of how to use these subject pronouns. If not, we'll be doing a lot more practice where if you need help, I can definitely help you. So thanks for watching. I'm going to try and end it. There we go. Adios.